Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is entitled My Life in 4 Suitcases. Four suitcases. My whole life, my house, my clothes, everything in 4 suitcases. So let's go back a little bit because simplifying our life actually began in 2016 when Jeff and I moved into a motor home. We were living in a 3 bedroom, 2 bath garage, all of those things. And we decided to live and buy a motorhome so that we could spend more time in our Christian ministry volunteer work. So, how did we take that big house and put it in a motorhome? Well, you don't. But here's what we did is we pulled the motorhome up to the front door and we started putting in the absolute necessities. And when the motorhome was full, but not over full, because I don't like clutter, when it was full, we shut the door on it, and everything else in that house had to go away. We sold some, we gave some, we donated stuff until it was all gone. So that was the beginning of our simplifying. But now the motorhome, we didn't buy it for vacation. We bought it to actually live full time in it. And we did that for 2 years. So think about a motorhome. You all know what a motorhome is. So in the motorhome, Jeff had a closet about, I would say, this wide. And that was all of his clothes, a shelf in the top of it, space for shoes in the bottom, and the hanging clothes. That was it. I had two little closets on either side of the bed that were 13 inches wide with 2 drawers underneath that. They weren't long closets, they were the shorter ones. And that was my clothes. So, how did we do that? How do we get our things or have the things that we need in that small space as far as clothes go? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more later in the video of how we simplified that. But then, after living in the motorhome for 2 years, we decided to go to the Dominican Republic um, and do our volunteer work there. So now the motorhome has to go, the 2 vehicles have to go, everything in the motorhome has to go. It all has to go because we're not leaving anything in the States because we know that this work in foreign country is going to be the rest of our life. So we sold, gave away, got rid of everything. And I had everything that we needed to start a life in Dominican Republic in 5 suitcases. Okay, so we were there for 4 years. Then we moved to Colombia. When we came to Colombia, I went up a few, and now I have 7 suitcases. Then we were here for 2 years or so, and we had to leave Colombia. We thought it was going to be permanent, so we went to Panama, and we thought we were going to set up a permanent home there in Panama. Going there, I took it down to 5 suitcases going there. The house we moved into was furnished and supposedly had some of the necessary things, but 5 suitcases, okay? But then we found out that we could come back to Colombia. Colombia was where our heart was at, so we jumped on an airplane and here we came back to Colombia with 3 suitcases. Okay, so 5, 7, 5, and 3. But now we have to simplify even more because, as the title of our channel is Retired in Motion, um, we know that we're not going to be staying in any country for long term. for quite some time. So 6 months here, 6 months there, wherever you can go, where you can stay just on your passport as a tourist for 6 months. That's what we're going to do. So, how many suitcases do we really want to be dragging with us every 6 months? So, here's what we're doing. How are we going to get our life into 4 suitcases? Okay, here's how we do it. Jeff and I both have 1 suitcase each for our clothes. So that's 2 suitcases. Now these are checked bag suitcases that, they're pretty good size. They hold, I think you're allowed 50 pounds. Okay. So we each have one for clothes. So how do we get all of our clothes and shoes and things in 1 suitcase? Well, we color coordinate our clothes so that we can have less items but make lots of different outfits. We limit ourselves to 3 pairs of shoes because you can always buy shoes wherever you're at. Okay, 3 pairs of shoes. And then, even for me, I limit my jewelry because us girls like our jewelry. And so I limit my jewelry down to just a few pieces that color coordinate with the clothing. And that way I don't have a jewelry box. I don't have one of those big stands that, takes up space. And by the time you get there, it's a tangled mess in the first place. So I eliminate down to just a few things on that. So that's 2 suitcases. Now, the third suitcase is what I call the household necessities. So when we go somewhere, even if we're staying in an Airbnb, sometimes they don't have all the things that you're used to or that you want. So, and sometimes they don't have anything. They say they do and then they don't. So, I have 2 nice plastic platter size plates, um, 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives, a couple of plastic glasses. They're all plastic, so we don't have to worry about them getting broke in the suitcase. But when I arrive, I have what I need to start making meals, eating meals, whatever. I also have one soup pot, about this big and this big. Um, I take that everywhere. I have one rice pot. I take that everywhere. I have one skillet. I take that everywhere. Those 3 things are all I need to do my cooking. I'm not an inventive cook. I'm very simple, and so those 3 things are all I need. I do have a kitchen knife. I do have a can opener. I do have a few of those little things like that that I put in there that I know that I use every day. Also, in the necessities, I have a couple of towels because I like good quality towels. And sometimes these places don't have very good towels, and I don't want to use something somebody else has used 100 times. So, 2 towels, a set of sheets for a double size bed, because in these Latin American countries, most all of the Airbnbs and even the rental homes all have double beds, not queen size or king size. They do have some twins, but the main bed in the master is usually a double size bed. So I take a set of sheets for that, and then I have a couple of small appliances. I have one of those Black and Decker emulsifiers that you put it down, you do your smoothies, and then has the canister that you can chop up your onions and tomatoes and all that. Okay, that's very handy. So that goes in that suitcase of necessities. I also have a hand mixer, so I take that with me. So just a couple of little small appliances that go in the kitchen. But now that's 2 suitcases of clothes and 1 suitcase of necessities for the kitchen, the bath, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, suitcase number 4 is probably the one that most of us girls have the biggest trouble with simplifying, and that's our treasures. That means the things that touch our heart, the things our children, our grandchildren, our close friends have given us over the years. But we can't take all that. Well, some people do, but I'm not doing that. So, how do I simplify that? Okay, let's start with pictures because pictures has been the number one thing that people have talked to me about that they can't let go of. So my husband took all of my, and I had like 10 or 12 photo albums back when we left the States. My husband took all that and put it in digital form for me and put it on one of those computerized photo album things you just plug in and you watch the pictures. So I have that. And then I have just a few, 4 or 5 special pictures that are printed that I put in a frame because I like to have a few things around for decoration in the house. So that's how we do our pictures. Then also, my husband publishes books. And so one of the books that he publishes is a book of pictures of our life from the time we left the United States. Well, from the time we got the motorhome up until now, pictures of our travels, pictures of our friends, pictures of the work we do, all of that, and the narrative that tells about what we're doing. And when we have guests come to our house, we have them look at the book, they find their picture if they're in it already, and we have them sign their picture or sign it in the back. So it's kind of like the yearbook we had in school back in the day, so we have that treasure. So that definitely has to go in the suitcase. Now, also, I have a few things that are very, very precious to me. And you might think I'm crazy when I show you this, but this is, yes, it's a rock, a big rock. But on a family vacation with my daughter, she found this rock on the beach. She painted it and she bought this and put it on it. And it's very precious to me. So as long as I can hang on to it, I'm going to hang on to it. It's pretty heavy, but it's going with me. Another thing that I treasure is my shell. And you can imagine this has to be packed very carefully. It's real. I picked it up from the ocean myself years and years ago on a trip with my brothers and sisters. So this is a memory that I treasure. So those things, you have to have some of them. But you don't need everything. There's a way to simplify down to the most important things and put things on digital or whatever you need to do to keep it simple. So now that's suitcase number 4. Okay, let's review. 2 suitcases with clothes, one for Jeff, one for me. 1 suitcase for necessities in the kitchen, small appliances, things of that sort, and towels and sheets. And 1 suitcase with your treasures. Okay, but that's not everything that we have to have because Jeff and I both work online. We're teachers. And so we have to have our laptops, our headphones, our this, that, everything that's connected with doing this online. For me, I have notebooks for each one of my students, and there are several of them. So there's a pretty good stack of notebooks that have to go with me because that's part of my record. Um, so what do we do then? We each have a traveling backpack, or we take a carry-on, small carry-on with us on the plane. So all of our work stuff goes in those suitcases or backpacks to make sure they stay with us, they're safe, they're not getting damaged in the bottom of the airplane with the computers and things. So, because as soon as we land somewhere, we're back to work the next morning, pretty much. So, we need those things on hand right away. So, that will give us 2 more things, but that's something we carry on us ourselves, not checked bags with all the other necessities there. So, what's the lesson we can learn from this video? The lesson is keep it simple. You can live with a lot less things if you organize yourself and you don't let your heart get in the way of what you think you have to have. I know people who have come and they've had 6, 8, 10, 12, or more suitcases. They bring their whole life from the United States. If that's what you want, that's okay. But that's really not keeping it simple. And that's what we're talking about today is simplifying your life to make it easier and stress-free for you when you're like us and you're moving from one country to another every number of months. We're not here on the long term. So keep it simple. If it doesn't fit in my 4 suitcases, it ain't going, and I don't own it because I don't leave anything here thinking I'll come back and get it. No, if I can't put it in the suitcases that are going with me, it's gone to somebody else. I don't need it that bad. So, a stress-free life, this is another way to work toward that, to get there. The life that Jeff and I have here in Colombia and the other places we've been has been the best life we've lived in our whole life. And we're so happy to be doing the work that we're doing, our volunteer work, and being able to go to different places and meet new people and help in this work. So keeping our life simple into 4 suitcases is another benefit to keeping stress out of our life because we ain't getting any younger. And I don't want to be dragging tons of suitcases in and out of the airport every few months. So that's the lesson for today. Keep it simple. You can do it. You'll be glad you did when you do. So thank you guys for watching this video. For all of you who have subscribed to our channel already, thank you so much. Please share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, because we have a lot more videos coming up with some interesting experiences and lessons that we've learned in our years of moving from one country to another as a retired couple. So hopefully you will enjoy this one and the others to come. So see you next time. Take care.